everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand build-up show. It is a pivotal point in the season as Manchester United take on Aston Villa away at Villa Park. It is absolutely huge. It's a six-pointer. Ricky, how excited are you for today's game? Really excited.
Absolutely can't wait for it. 2 or 3 games back, well, 2 games back, we had a little run looming of Wolves away, followed by West Ham at home, followed by Villa. And I think we were all saying, how many points would you take? How many points would you expect? And I don't think a lot of people thought there was going to be a chance of us getting 9 points, and we're still in the hunt for getting 9 points out of 3 games. I can't believe it, to be honest. My guess at the time was that we would get, I don't know, 3 or 4 points out of it maximum. But the way we played the last 2 games, I'm hoping we can get 9 now.
Well, I'd completely written top 4 off coming up to Christmas, I'm going to be honest, because I felt like we were too far off the pack. I mean, Arsenal, Liverpool and City are all going to get top 4. I mean, Arsenal absolutely dominating West Ham right now, beating them 4-0 at half-time. Liverpool and City are going to do it. So that leaves 1 spot open. Maybe 5th will get the Champions League spot, depending on how the English teams do in the European competitions. But at the moment, realistically, you've got Aston Villa, Spurs, United, can't rule Newcastle out, Brighton even, all kind of competing for that last spot. Aston Villa currently are looking like the favourite. Spurs got a last-minute winner yesterday that put them in good position, which was unfortunate for us. But if we win this game, we're 5 points off top 4. Yeah. And then you're looking at it and thinking, we're really in with the chance. We lose this game, we're 11 points behind, which is just, you look and you think that's really hard to climb back from, especially with how tumultuous this league is. Ricky, the away record for Erik ten Hag against the top 6 is not good. We are yet to win away against the top 6 side. Aston Villa are a top 6 side right now. The odds aren't really in our favour, but do you see Man United getting a positive result today?
I think they've got a good chance, yeah. Look, I always say this to you, don't I? It's difficult predicting the results of football games. I wish I could go in the bookmakers and do it and get it right, you know what I mean? So it is difficult. It depends which United team's going to turn up. The last 2 games definitely been a step in the right direction. Against Wolves, we played pretty well, let a couple of silly goals in near the end, but still ended up getting the points. But there was an improvement against Wolves. Then there was an improvement again against West Ham. I think it was only the 2nd time in the season, was it, that we've won by more than 1 clear goal? I'm pretty sure it was, in the league anyway. And, you know, I thought they played really well against West Ham. So there does seem to be a little bit of a corner turned. And I know that gets said pretty often and you end up with egg on your face. As I've just said, we've had 3 relatively tough games. When I say relatively tough games, West Ham seems to have fallen off a cliff. I don't know what's happened to them. But we've just had 3 relatively...
The United effect.
Yeah, there you go. So we've got the 3rd game coming up of 3 relatively tough games. If we can win this game, I would honestly say we'd be favourites, because you get that little bit of momentum as well. And Aston Villa have just had a bit of a sickening, aren't they, getting beat at home? You know, they got a draw with Chelsea, didn't they, in the Cup? Got a replay at home. I looked at the lineup. They had a full-strength lineup, or as near as they could, and ended up getting beat 3-1. Was it?
Chelsea played them off the park, really. In that game,
well, I didn't see that game, but yeah, they got beat 3-1 by Chelsea, and Chelsea are not doing great, obviously. So you know, you have to think to yourself, if United win this game, they're on the up, and Villa just seem a little bit just to be wavering a little bit.
They do, but also, is it time for them to bounce back now against United?
Let's see. Obviously, that happens. Teams turn up to play United, don't they? Look, there's no 2 ways about it. No matter who you support, other people will say, oh, it happens to other clubs. Teams turn up to play against Manchester United. Fans turn up for the Man United games. The atmosphere is always better when they play Man United. So this game today, as much as it's a big game to us, it's a really big game for them, and they're a good side. So what mixture does that give you? A good side, and it's a really big game. It's going to be tough, I think.
I think it's definitely going to be tough, 100%, and it's going to be a good atmosphere. It's so important for both teams. Got it wrong before, we'd be 6 points off.
6 points.
Not 5, but still, you're in and around it then. 11 points you're looking at thinking, that is tough.
Well, it'd be 12 then, wouldn't it? If they beat us, it'd be 12, not 11, because you said...
I'm trying to work out. Someone said in the chat that we would be...
Well, if it's going to be 6, then it'd be 9.
No, it'd be 11. Someone said in the chat that I got it wrong, but let me actually just have a look at the Premier League table.
Just check the table now.
I'm going to have a quick look. But we will bring you guys team news as soon as we have it. We're going to get into the tactics with Aston Villa, and we also have an Aston Villa fan to bring on that I'm going to bring in just a second. But let me look at the Premier League table.
I'll help you with the maths if you're struggling.
Yeah.
How many points have they got?
Aston Villa are on 46 points currently, and Manchester United are on 38 points.
That's
so,
8.
No, we would be 5.
That's 8, yeah.
Yeah, we would be 5 points
So
off.
whoever's
Told me I'm wrong, get your maths right. I was right originally. Yeah. Thank you very much. She'll be 5 points off and then 11 if we lose. So a lot riding on it, but team news, tactical breakdowns and more to come. But let's bring in our Aston Villa fan to the show. It's going to be a tough game and I cannot wait for it. We are going to bring in Josh now, Aston Villa fan. Josh, are you with us?
Beth, yeah, thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you on. Thank you for being here. I mean, let's get your initial thoughts on the game. How confident are you going into this game? Do you think Villa are going to turn up after having a shaky result against Chelsea? Are you fearing the worst? How are you going into it?
First game in a long time I've woke up nervous for. Look, Villa Park's been our fortress. I've been labelling it as our fortress. And then Newcastle came about a few weeks ago and, crumbled us, losing 3-1 at home to them. And it put a massive dent into us. And I thought, okay, a little blip. But then for Chelsea to go and do that to us again in the FA Cup, it's just made me a little bit more apprehensive and nervous. And really, for me, Unai Emery, both times against Newcastle and Chelsea, top teams within the division, he's not quite tactically got it quite right. And I'm hoping that he's learnt from the game against Old Trafford with the high line today, and B, that he does make those tweaks that I think can, nullify some of your threats, keep us in a really sound position. And hopefully for us, again, we need to crucially pick up those 3 points. So, yeah, in a roundabout way, I am a little bit more nervous, but I genuinely am expecting a huge bounce back performance. And potentially you might be playing us or caught us at the wrong time. Or who knows, we could still be, mourning that sort of loss against Chelsea, still got that Newcastle result in the back of our mind. And potentially, it could be one of those banana skins again for us today.
Well, Villa Park is not an easy place to go. I know you've had a couple of bad results in terms of your standards this season in the Chelsea and the Newcastle game, but Villa Park has been a fortress this season. You're up there with one of the best home records in the league. I think is it only Liverpool that has a better home record than you guys, and City potentially as well? I think you're definitely up there for sure, and it is a tough place to go. To me though, Unai Emery, which I think would work in our favour, and maybe he will change it, but he doesn't seem like a manager that wants to change the way he plays game to game. So I'm hoping you're going to keep that high line.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because obviously it's very hard as an Aston Villa fan to even try and find an inch of criticism about Unai Emery because the transformation that he's done at our football club is absolutely staggering. I think what it is that he obviously is known as a tactician who goes into all this depth of tactical analysis, really emphasizes it on the training ground, the hours he puts in. And sometimes you feel that he believes that no matter what, his game plan will come to fruition and he's got a philosophy and idea. But it's just that against Newcastle, as I said, against Chelsea, the wide areas kept getting exposed. We played way too compact and he wasn't willing to change it. And I think even though we were 2-0 up against, you guys at Old Trafford, there was still that threat that you could easily score from getting in behind with that high line. And we didn't really think about in the second half dropping off 5-10 yards to really nullify that and solidify that 2-0 lead. So, look, I am praying today that, again, with a few tweaks, not just with the tactics, but personnel as well. Hopefully, Pau Torres comes back into the back line. He is, for me, if I see that name on the team sheet today, Beth, I'm going to be a lot more confident. If I don't see Pau Torres on there, again, I'm going to be a little bit nervous. And the left-back situation as well, whether it's going to be Luca Dean or it's going to be Moreno. Of course, Luca Dean went off injured against you guys. That was his last game. And we've looked weaker without him. So, two big things there for me. But yeah, the high line, you're probably going to see it in action, and it's whether United will exploit it.
Yeah, Pau Torres, I didn't know if he was likely for this game. I think he was on the edge of maybe coming back. We'll have to see whether he's in the starting 11 or not, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, Ricky, do you have anything that you want to ask Josh about today's game?
Yeah, I don't know, like you've just mentioned Pau Torres. I'm a massive fan. I'm a massive fan of two. But you've got a lot of good players, obviously. But my two favourite Aston Villa players are Pau Torres and John McGinn. Do you think I've chosen wisely?
Yeah, absolutely. Pau Torres, it just shows why a lot of high-profile clubs, not just in Europe, but obviously in the Premier League, were always interested in Pau Torres. His ability to play out from the back and break those pressing lines is something that we've missed badly. He beats the press incredibly. He's very calm and composed on the ball, and you can see what an incredible player he's going to grow into. His only downside is maybe his turn of pace. But for me, again, his football IQ is so high that his positioning is sometimes something bails him out. John McGinn, I think, if you had 11 John McGinns on your team, you're going to get someone who's going to play for the shirt, run through a brick wall for you. Unai Emery's got the best out of John McGinn this season, his best ever returns in terms of goals and assists, playing a little bit more higher up the pitch. And again, he's another key player, I think, Ricky, that if he gets going in the early first 10 minutes and really is able to drive at you, get on the half turn, it's going to be a positive day for Villa. So that's another player you want to nullify. But probably my big shout out at the moment, and the player that I think could make the difference today, is Leon Bailey. I think Leon Bailey's our game changer at the moment. Again, another player whose season has skyrocketed because of Unai Emery. If he can, win his one-on-one duels out wide, again, it'd be interesting to see if Luke Shaw plays left back for you today, or whether he's moved into centre half. But I'm interested to see who does play left back for you. Whether Bailey can be our magic man again, and that moment of brilliance. Of course, he scored against you guys in the fixture at Villa Park when we last beat you. So he's key for me. He's a real key player for us.
I'm pretty sure Luke Shaw will play at left back. I don't think we've really got another fit
unless
left back.
Unless he plays Lindelof there, which I doubt he'll do.
I doubt it. I think we'll see Luke Shaw against Bailey, and I think it'll be a tremendous battle.
He will be. I think Bailey's a good player. He's a good player, and I mean, you've got a lot of good players, Josh. Looking. I've watched a lot of Aston Villa this season, and I think what Unai Emery's done with that team is just absolutely incredible. And the way that he's brought the best out of a lot of players. I mean, Ollie Watkins is going to be one to watch as well. Another player we've not mentioned who's just having a terrific season. But as you as a Villa fan, what do you make of Man United and Ten Hag going into this game? I mean, where do you think the threats are? What do you think the weaknesses are?
So, probably from the outside, I've always said this, Ten Hag's Ajax, of what you saw and what he produced, clearly hasn't transferred into his Manchester United side. I think where I look and feel sorry for Ten Hag is the injuries that you've probably sustained, and that he's never been able to, a classic example for me is not being able to put out Varane and Lisandro Martinez consistently week on week. I mean, that must be so frustrating for a manager not to be able to build that core spine of your team and players. I still do ask that question, how are United going to play today? Are you going to be happy to try and sit back and try and hit us on the counter-attack, which probably would play into your favour in a way? Or is he going to change it? Is he going to come a bit more aggressive at us? So, with Ten Hag, I'm still never quite sure, and I'm not sure if United fans feel the same, what Ten Hag's philosophy or what you would see or expect from United side. But who do I fear? I mean, I've got massive respect. Of course, I know Rick's just mentioned about Luke Shaw. I think, again, a consistent performer when fit. And I think that's the quotation of when fit, and that'll be a really good battle. Can't help but admire the young lad, Kobe Mino, coming onto the scene. And I think, I've read a quote, I think it actually came from Ten Hag's press conference, saying about the fact that, throwing a young lad like that into a team that's not having a consistent season, but actually flourishing, I think it's massive credit to him. And I'm sure that he's going to grow into a fantastic player for your club. But I actually think today, and where I think about it more, is that I think Rashford and Garnacho, again, I'm talking about Bailey being our game changers. I think they're all game changers today. I think they're the players that really scare me, especially our vulnerability at fullback and how we've looked really shady there. I mean, we've made Anthony Gordon, twice this season, look a world beater. And I'm not exactly saying Anthony Gordon's a poor player, but I don't think he's as good as we've made him look. And I just think that Rashford and Garnacho, Now they're getting a bit of game time in those wide areas, consistency in those areas. Garnacho seems to be embracing the right hand side. I'm really scared of those two. And do you know what? If you asked me that a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I wouldn't have even mentioned their names.
Yeah, you can come in quickly.
Josh, you mentioned like the vulnerability in the full-back positions. I think I'm right in saying when you beat City at home, when you beat Arsenal at home, I think you had Konza playing at right back. Is that something that is he fit, or would he be in the team anyway, or is there a chance that could happen?
He's out for 4 weeks.
Oh, is he? Right.
And that's heartbreaking. And that is a really good point, because exactly what you said. We played Ezri Konsa at right back, and we had Luca Dean at left back when we beat City and Arsenal.
And they're both missing.
And since those, and they're both missing. I think my hunch is today, Pau Torres will start, but Luca Dean will be on the bench. And yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
After today, mate, I'd just like to say, after today, I wish you all the best for the rest of the season.
Yeah, after today, for sure. I mean, actually, no, because I don't want them to get top four. You're our competitors right now. But, Josh, quickly, before you go, I always ask every opposition fan that comes on. By the way, you've had some brilliant insight, a really good guest to have onto the channel, so thank you so much for coming on. But first question is, if you could take one Man United player to come to Villa, who would you pick? And then the second one is your score prediction for today's game.
Oh, I like that question. Who would I take? If I was actually thinking about, I know this might sound actually really rude, but I think the way that Unai Emery's building his side, and the way we did our January transfer window, I just think I could, like Kobe Mino. I know it's really early days, but I'm a massive fan of him, and I think like the mold that we could get out of him would be someone that I would love to absolutely steal off you. But as I said, I'm a big Luke Shaw fan, and you know I absolutely adore the man.
Two great shouts.
Score prediction. Thank you. I appreciate that. Score prediction. I don't want to. We have to win today. We have to win. I've got to be confident. I've got to be positive. I'll tell you now, if we score in the first 10 minutes, I think we go on to win today. So I'm going to go with an Aston Villa 2-1 win. However, just to hear myself, we could have our third successive loss at home, 3-1 loss. We lost 3-1 to Chelsea. We lost 3-1 to Newcastle. Can Man United do the same? But I'm going to back the boys. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa, and we're going to score early on.
I think you've got to back your team. You've got to back your team, Josh, so I respect it. Some great insight. I think United are going to win. So do you as well, don't you?
I do today, yeah.
But it's going to be a good game, that's for sure. I mean, we hope it's a good game, and it's definitely a pivotal point of the season. But Josh, thank you so much. You've been a brilliant guest, and our viewers have absolutely loved having you on. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Josh. Enjoyed it.
Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and good luck as well for getting fifth this season.
Thank you very much. I mean, great guest on the channel, Ricky. And we've also got another guest in the building. Faz has joined us, so we're going to come to him in a second. But quickly, super chat from Zayn Miasi. Zayn, your team's 4-0 up against West Ham, playing brilliant football, and you find yourself on the build-up show. I love it. Thank you very much. What a masterpiece. Come on, you Gunners, he says. And Aldin as well with another super chat in too. But yeah, everyone, get your comments in. We're going to have team news very shortly, so get your predictions in, how you think this game's going to go. Let me know in the comments. But Faz, coming to you, this game today, how do you see it playing out, and what have you got your eye on?
Well, hello everyone. Good evening or good afternoon. Let's start with good afternoon first. Look, I'm massively excited for this game. I'm really energized, especially we've scored so many goals in the last 2 games. We've been creating lots of chances. Players are coming into fiery form. The likes of Garnacho, Rasmus, with great finishing as well. And you know what? I'm excited to see how Erik ten Hag manages to solve a problem today, because first thing that we can think of is Aston Villa are probably going to play some sort of high line football where Rashford or Garnacho can be running in behind and they'll have loads of success. But what if Unai Emery decides to go into a mid-block? That's where it's going to come down to the tactical side, the problem-solving side, and that's what I want to see. It'd be great to get 3 wins on the bounce. Obviously, that would help us massively. I think if we draw or lose this game, then our top 4 hopes would be, well and truly over. Plus, considering we have some really tough fixtures still to play. Liverpool, Man City, and all of those. So yeah, I think it's the problem solving that I want to see. And you know what? A lot of people are picking the likes of Garnacho to come through today and maybe have input on goal, and Rasmus as well. And I totally agree and I hear it. But Scott McTominay has been growing on me.
Ooh.
He's been growing on me massive. And I've been going on speaking to fans and other people online and saying, I've asked myself, how can I purposely dislike a player that is giving you input off the bench when all we complain about is we don't have solutions off the bench? But when you have a player who's maybe not, starting 11 quality, but at the moment he's giving you input from the bench, I can't have anything against him. I am a moment person. Whatever's going on right now, my feelings are based on what it is right now. When Erik ten Hag and the team weren't performing, I was absolutely, upset and totally against everything. Right now, we look like we're turning it around, and I'm very positive and upbeat. And that's why I'm going to say Scott McTominay today, because if push comes to shove, right, and Unai decides to change up his tactics a little bit, play a bit more aggressive football, or even go into a mid-block in certain stages, who do we bring on, or who comes to change that shift, to bring that shift into the game? And the one player that's been like that is either Casemiro from set pieces. We've seen that couple of games, Bruno's crosses and stuff. He's odd time getting caught offside, or his just headers are off the mark, but he's one of the players. And it's Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay's been subbed on before, and we've looked at Erik ten Hag, think, why have you brought him on? But he's gone and got us winners. I can't have anything against him. Not right now anyways. What happens in the summer is then and whatever, but I think, Scott McTominay will be a huge addition today. Huge addition.
I don't think he's going to start, but off the bench.
Off the bench, yeah.
Faz, a lot of people liking the jacket this week.
Oh, yes.
It's a new jacket every week and we love it.
It's a new
Very
jacket.
smart.
I've changed it up.
Hit a like on the video for Faz's jacket, everyone. But
I've changed it up.
there's a rumour on the street that Amrabat's starting. That's just the rumour.
Right.
I hope it stays as a rumour.
So then, if that is the rumour is true, you would assume it'd be at fullback, don't you? I'm going to be honest, if that's the case, that scares me. Because I think Luke Shaw's doing brilliantly at left back, combining with Rashford.
I don't see that, Beth. I'll be staggered.
That's the rumour.
What? But is the rumour actually the position, or you're assuming which position?
I'm assuming the position, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be for one of them. I think it'll just mean one of the midfield players has got some sort of niggle or something. I think maybe Casemiro might not be fully fit.
I don't think we've seen Kobe Mino and Amrabat together, have we, this season?
Probably not. No, Amrabat's not played for a while, has
we've
he?
seen him at Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool, great shout.
And they played well
we
together,
played great at Liverpool. For what we can do, it's a lot of people think, it's a defensive performance, you got a 0-0 draw. As far as I'm concerned, it's up there amongst our best 2 or 3 performances of the season.
I do
without
think
a doubt.
If he does play left back, Bailey versus Amrabat scares the life out of me. But I hope he wouldn't.
I'll be staggered if he's left back.
I think that'd be mental if that did happen. I think that would be mental. I mean, we've not seen Amrabat playing for Manchester United for quite a long time. Obviously, he's been at AFCON. A lot of people have been labelling him as a poor signing this season. I mean, if he does play, it's a game where he can really prove his worth to Erik ten Hag, because it's an absolutely crucial one, isn't it, Faz?
Yes, most definitely. It's one of those things where the way he's I think the tempo of the league has caught him off guard a bit, I'll be honest. But in certain games he's looked okay, in certain games not so much. You need a run of games for any player to be able to get used to the squad, get used to the league as well. Just have to have some breathing space. And at the end of the day, he is still a lone player. We don't have to sign him at the end of the season. I just hope, like you said, it's a rumour. I hope it stays as a rumour, because I think the midfield balance that we found with Cass, Kobe and Bruno, I think it'd be great to stick with that, and especially against Villa as well. They have, again, some really strong players in midfield. They go into a 2-10 at times. They'll go into 4 in the middle. And we need that Casemiro kind of composure with Ollie Watkins playing as well, and the energy that they can bring. We need that Casemiro and Kobe Mano, that composure in the midfield. And Amrabat at times, with opposition players pressing him, he doesn't really look that comfortable, I'll be honest. So, yeah.
It's now 5-0 to Arsenal.
Is it really?
Wow. They could beat the 7-0.
No wonder.
I mean, that is crazy. They are really sending a message to the league. Unfortunately, we're not.
They must be sneaking up a little bit on City's goal difference.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Quinn Stars put a super chat in saying Amrabat midfield and Casemiro in defence, maybe. I doubt it. He's got centre-backs.
Too many centre-backs
Like
fit.
you said, I think it'd just maybe be for an injury. It might not even be true. It's literally just a rumour. So we'll see for when the team news comes out, which will be in 2 minutes. But talking about partnerships, Ricky, what would your centre-back pairing be today?
Lindelof and Evans. I told you at the start of the season it's my favourite pairing, and they both fit again. They haven't even played together.
Lindelof and Evans?
Yeah. But
Oh,
I think
it's 6-0 now.
It's it. They might get 10.
What, is it still first half or is it gone in second half?
No, it's second half now.
How many minutes gone?
I'm going to have a look. Jesus.
I think it's like 50
Right,
minutes.
Ricky, that 6-0 has just taken the shine off the fact that you start Lindelof and Evans in defence.
Look, because they've been playing more regularly, I would go with either Varane or Maguire next to Johnny Evans. I'd bring Johnny Evans back in. We had a quick chat, didn't we, before we went live, Beth, where I made a mistake. I thought Johnny Evans was completely out of favour since he was at fault with a goal against Spurs, and you quite rightly pointed out that it's just that players have come back since then. I thought Spurs was further back than it actually is. We've only played Newport, Wolves and West Ham since that game, and Martinez has been fit. So it's as simple as this for me. Johnny Evans was playing regularly. Martinez got fit. He came back in, and now he's not fit again. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be Johnny Evans.
Declan Rice was the goal scorer as well, sorry.
But look at the players we're facing. You know, the pace of the players we're facing.
Yeah, that is.
You have to consider. I appreciate what you're saying. A player was regular prior to Martinez coming in, but you know, you have to set out the team based on the players you're going to be facing, right? And do you think Johnny Evans and Lindelof really?
Well, I said that a little bit tongue in cheek because pre-season I said to Beth that I think they'd be our best two, and I do stick with that. But you know, Lindelof's been injured. He's hardly kicked a ball, has he? He came back last week, played about 5 minutes at left back, 10 minutes at left back. I would definitely stick with either Varane or Maguire. I mean, even Varane was fit for a while it was Maguire and Evans. I won't be surprised today if it's Maguire and Evans who play. And I take your point that they've got a couple of quick players, but you know, Varane and Evans played at Anfield, and you know, it can't be tougher. No matter what the style of players are, it can't be tougher. And we got a 0-0 draw there. Is it team news out?
Team news is out. Team news is out. I personally would go with Maguire and Varane. I think most of the fan base would, but Ricky, we respect your opinions, obviously. But we'll see what Erik ten Hag has gone with. So the starting 11 for Manchester United is, I don't like it when they do it in number order because I have to kind of work everything out. Oh, okay. So it is people on Twitter. The rumour wasn't true about Amrabat.
So there's no Amrabat, right?
The rumour wasn't true about Amrabat. So that's why when we get our team news in, we say it's sourced. It was a rumour that wasn't from us, but that was wrong. But the starting 11 for today's game is Onana in goal. You have a back four of Diogo Dalot at right back, a centre-back pairing of Raphael Varane and Harry Maguire, and Luke Shaw at left back. You have a midfield three of Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes, and then you have a front three of Alejandro Garnacho, Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund. So the only change is you have Varane coming in to start with Harry Maguire, replacing Lisandro Martinez. So very
who's our
strong
left back?
team.
Shaw.
Left back Shaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
Shaw
the exact same team as last week, but Varane replaces Martinez, so it's Maguire and Varane is centre back.
Okay.
So and the bench, we've got the bench as well. The bench is Bayende, Evans, Lindelof, Ahmad, Amrabat, Eriksson, Forson, McTominay and Anthony. So what do we think of that?
Back to the Johnny Evans thing that we spoke about before the game.
The Johnny Evans
no,
thing
but seriously, he was playing regularly up until He's only missed the last 3 games. He was playing regularly. Martinez came back in and took his place. I don't understand why he hasn't slotted straight back in. He was playing regularly and the other players were fit. Varane was on the bench a lot. Maguire was unfit for the bit, but he played with Maguire. So I did think Johnny Evans had come back in as a straight swap for Martinez. But I also said to you before the game that I think he's been a little bit out of favour because he did make a mistake against Spurs that led to a goal. And some players get away with making a mistake and some players don't, and I think it's been held against him.
I don't think that. I think I obviously did make a mistake. I think the case of is he did really well when he came in, but we were missing a lot of players. Varane was in and out of the team through injury, but also I think they had a little something behind the scenes. That's been sorted out now. Varane and Martinez is his best centre-back pairing. He's got ready for them to come back in. Give Maguire the nod after coming back from injury because he was injured for a while, wasn't he? Give him the nod. He did really well against West Ham last game. I think Varane he's back in Ten Hag's good books, and Maguire played really well, so he has to play him. I think it's just simple as that. I think he's just preferring them two players. I don't think it's the sense of Evans is out of favour. I think he just prefers Maguire and Varane personally. But it's interesting because previously, Faz, he's talked about, you know, not wanting to have like someone who's really comfortable on the left foot, on the left-hand side. But obviously, he must have changed his mind now about that.
You know, one of the things, right, that I'm looking at, you know, with that centre-back partnership is, who, out of all the centre-backs that we have, which centre-backs are the best at making long-range passes?
Lindelof's good at it.
But who have you seen actively be able to make those successful passes? It's either Johnny Evans or Maguire.
Maguire's great.
Right? So based on the football that we're going to have to play today, based on the football Villa are going to play today, the two centre-backs that make sense to play next to Varane is either Evans or Maguire. So he's picked, you know, one of the two. Why he's picked Maguire over Evans, I don't know. I think maybe...
It's a really good point about the long-range passing.
Exactly, yeah. If you're going to be playing diagonal ball with his left foot to Garnacho or Varane with his right foot to Rashford, if you're going to play those diags, it's going to be either Evans or Varane or Maguire or Varane. And I think where Maguire just outdoes Evans a bit more is... He's obviously just a bit more physical, got little bit more pace. It's not like he's obviously the fastest centre-back or whatever. Maybe a bit more pace, bit more physicality, bit more aerial, you know, ability maybe you could go as well. So I think that's why he's edged over Evans and started next to Varane. And obviously Varane will probably be our best centre-back to go with. Ricky may disagree. But that's why. It's the diagonal balls that will be played to Garnacho or Rashford. I won't be surprised if later on in the second half, depends on how the game goes, he decides to bring on Evans. And he decides to take Maguire off. I won't be surprised at that as well. But overall, though, that starting 11, it's the strongest starting 11 that he could have gone with. If you had all the players available, every single player, bar Martinez, I think he's picked the right team, absolutely right team. Really positive that Shaw's back in there as well. Obviously, Dallo every week in, week out, without a question. Midfield is very calm, no niggles there. And the front three are solid. So, fantastic team.
I completely agree. It's the best team that you could have picked out of what was available. I know Ricky probably wouldn't agree with that, but it's interesting stuff. I mean, get in the live chat, rate that lineup out of 10. Let me know. I want to see what the consensus is. Looking at Villa's team, the Pau Torres isn't back for them in the starting 11, which is good. Emi Martinez, Matty Cash, Longley, Carlos, Moreno, Douglas Luiz, who I think is a proper player, Kamara, Leon Bailey, Ramsey, McGinn and Ollie Watkins. So it's a strong team, but they've also got they've got a couple big hitters missing. You know, Luca Dean's still missing. You've got Pau Torres still missing. So it's a good team. It's going to cause us problems. It's just how many now you deal with it. If
every single player was fully fit for this game today, I reckon they've got 3 of the back 4 missing that would have played. I think Konza would have played at right back. Yeah. He's been doing that in the big games.
I forgot about Konza. Yeah.
He's been playing at right back in the big games. Although Cash, I think when they're more on the front foot, they tend to use Matty Cash. But I think Konza, Pau Torres and Luca Dean would have all played today if they were fit. So they've hardly got a back 4 player fit. So, you know, think about that. You know, we complain enough when all ours are missing, don't we? Matty
Cash is a threat right back.
He's a good player, yeah. Yeah, they're all good players, don't get me wrong. I'm just, you know, we've got good players in backup. Just, you know, some people think that the best players are miles better. I'm sure a lot of Villa fans think.
But who do you, if you look at that Villa starting lineup, who's the 1 or 2 players that you're looking at and thinking, right, got to be wary of them? For me, one of them is 100% McGinn.
Yeah.
100% because he's just so frustrating to play against.
Yeah.
He's got so much shit out in him. He'll kick you and he'll pinch you. He'll try and draw fouls.
Yeah, Josh, the Villa fan who was on, was talking about Leon Bailey, who's probably going to play on the right. I think that'll be a great battle between him and Luke Shaw.
Joe, who I massively rate for them, Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah.
I think Douglas Luiz is so good. He's someone that I would genuinely be so open for United to go for. To be honest, I understand why Arsenal tried so hard to get him. I think it was last summer or the summer before. But he's really good in their midfield. So their midfield is going to be tough. You know, you've got workhorses in there, and it's going to be a big task for Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro. But I think they're up to it. I mean, it's going to be exciting. Got a couple super chats in. Billy Welch says, I think Evans is our best centre back on the ball. Against Villa pressure, I'd have him over Maguire or Varane.
I think Martinez is our best player.
Tricks and passes he has are class. Ricky's burner. He's been
Well, the camera's not on him. He's been getting on the chat. I'm joking, but no. Obviously, everyone's open to their own opinions, and you know, you've clearly been watching a lot of Ricky's Instagrams. Fair play to you. No, I'm joking. I'm not. I'm joking. But it's. I think Maguire is good on the ball. He's the fact with Maguire, he can get caught, can't he? Dawdling sometimes, like we saw against West Ham. So, going to be interesting to see what happens anyway. But looking towards our front three, Ricky, I know you know you're not the biggest fan of Rashford, and maybe you'd have a different player there. But in terms of the front three of Rashford, Garnacho, and Højlund, they've been working quite well together the last couple of games, haven't they? It's
been a big improvement the last two or three games. Højlund's obviously started seemingly to get a goal every week. Garnacho's a right handful. Needs to be a bit stronger at times. I'm not as excited about him as a lot of United fans are, but I do think he's a good player and he's an exciting player to watch.
I put on Twitter yesterday saying, I put on Twitter yesterday saying one thing that gives me hope about Garnacho not eventually going off to Real Madrid is the fact they've got Vinicius Junior who's 23 and Rodrigo who's 23, and they're both unbelievable, and obviously they're probably going to add Mbappe to that. And people are like, the fact you think he'd be good enough to play for Real Madrid. I was like, he's 19. In a couple of years, I think he on the pathway he is on. He's doing
People
so well.
used to say that about us, about other players. If you think he'd be good enough to play for Manchester United, but it's Real Madrid, isn't it? And City. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, look, Garnacho, relatively, he's on fire really, Garnacho. But it's just so many times his strength lets him down a bit. He's got to get stronger. But he is on fire at the moment. So is Højlund, and Rashford's playing more steadily than he normally plays. He's just giving the ball more simply, not going on as many mazy dribbles, which I'm sure lots of the fans like the mazy dribbles. I hate them. You know what I mean? Just get hold of the ball, pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. You know, he wouldn't be getting in City's team if he was going on a dozen mazy dribbles every game. Do you know what I mean?
Can I just ask you then, Ricky, what do you think of Doku?
Look, he looks a great player. What I've seen of him, I've not seen loads of him, but Jack Grealish, if they were to be playing in a cup final tomorrow, Jack Grealish should be in and Doku on the bench. I'd have my bottom dollar on it.
I don't think. I don't. Well, why has Grealish been out of the team for so long though? He's not in favour right now.
They keep bringing him on as a sub, don't they? Didn't he have a little injury as well? I
just don't think he's in favour right now. To be honest.
You don't think so?
But I think Grealish is a top player. Do not get me wrong. But I think they're two different players. With Doku, you're going to get someone who's a lot more direct. With Grealish, you're going to get someone who's going to hold the ball.
What I've seen of him as well, I've got to say this. You know, it's all right saying he goes on the odd mazy run, but no disrespect to any of these players, he's actually better at it. I don't see him going on mazy runs and losing the ball as often as Rashford does. Rashford goes on mazy runs too often and runs into trouble. Doku, I've seen him beat a couple of men in
I'm not comparing
quickly.
Doku to Rashford.
Yeah, Faz was asking me what do you think about Doku because he runs with it a lot. But there tends to be a pass at the end of it from Doku more often than not.
I do think, Faz, Rashford's overall play has been a lot better since he, had the whole Newport incident, and his overall play has been better. And obviously, last time against Villa, we saw him put in that good pass for Garnacho. I think the wingers are going to be crucial today. Like they said, Matty Cash is great going forward. Maybe you can get at him defensively. He's a good fullback, but on the other side, Moreno can definitely be got at, I think, by Alejandro Garnacho. So it's going to be interesting, and hopefully we see them crossing it into the box for Højlund as well.
Yeah, I was speaking about it on the Instagram Live prior to this, on the United Stand Instagram Live, and I was saying, a lot of people don't like the way Rashford play and whatever, but, I've come to terms with the player he is. I've had some great questions, actually, on the live show, on the live as well, on Instagram. People asking, would you trade Rashford for Neto, for example? I know Ricky would probably do it. Would you trade Rashford for Mitoma? But I just look at it as one thing that he does well, which he's probably one of the best at doing, is his explosive runs in behind. He's just unstoppable when it comes to the ball coming over the top. And like today, in today's game, that's just going to be a huge, huge addition. He's physical. He'll be able to time his run well. Obviously, the way Villa play as well, you want to be making sure you time the runs perfectly. You can almost delay your run a little bit because VAR is going to catch you out anyways. They're going to go to every pixel, aren't they? So the way Villa's going to push their front line forward, you can time your runs and delay him a little bit, and hopefully we can catch him in behind. But in terms of his performance, look, am I still open to possibly selling him this summer? It's a big, big question. I think for the benefit of the team, maybe so. Even though he's probably, stabilised his performance somewhat, I'd still be open to selling him. Ricky said he doesn't like dribblers, but me, I'm all for dribblers. I absolutely love dribblers. That's just, I love getting off my seat. The football that you say pass and move will put me to sleep, in all honesty. It's almost like the tiki-taka-esque football, but I love dribblers. I'd love someone like Doku, or someone in the caliber of Vinicius Junior in Manchester United. And Rashford a couple of years ago, when he was in this dribbling mindset, I absolutely loved it. I really did. One thing though you touched on as well is pass through Rasmus. I don't know if you guys noticed, a couple of times this season, the pass that Rashford's been making to Rasmus, the first time pass, have you noticed it?
I've seen it,
from the right
when
hand
it comes
side,
up and he's got his back to goal and he plays it straight away.
Unreal, because that pass alone to do, right, is something you'd expect from Bruno Fernandes, for example, who's supposed to be making those sorts of passes. To get a left winger to be able to do that back to goal, first time pass, it speaks like how much talent he's got and what he can do if he really puts his mind to it. So I'm expecting some of those passes today.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what you're saying there in terms of the passing from Rashford. I think it's something that has been underrated from him for a while. It's something he has got in his locker. I just wish he used it more, for sure. I mean, for the last bit of the show, what I want to do now with you guys in the chat, which I think would be great, is I want to try something new on the build-up show, is I want you guys to get your questions in to Ricky, Faz and me. We'll go answer your questions in the last bit of the show and we'll do our predictions and stuff. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask us about today's game and going into this Villa game? And what are your thoughts as well? Let's get a community chat going. Let's get a community chat going on this. But it's going to be a really tough game. It'll be interesting to see how Ten Hag approaches it. But Ricky, what I would come to you and say is how important game management is going to be in this game, because Ten Hag's away record against the top 6, against the top 10, it's poor. It's really poor. He has a chance to turn it around today, and he said himself, every game's like a final. In-game management here is going to be crucial, isn't it? It's something that he's either done really well in the past or something that's let him down, so it's going to be crucial to get it right.
It will be crucial to get it right if it's a tight game. You'd assume, I mean, obviously we're expecting a tight game, and football's a funny old game. It can shock you at times. What scores the Arsenal game at a minute, 6-0 or something?
Yeah,
if we're 3 or 4-0 up or 3 or 4-0 down, the in-game management won't be quite as important. But if it is a tight game, then it'll be vital.
Yeah, I'm.
Can I ask you?
Who would you want to see having some impact off the bench for United today?
As Faz said, definitely. Well, definitely McTominay if we need a goal. Definitely McTominay if we need a goal, but it could be that we need to shore things up, and then you might think about it differently.
Well, so you don't think you would bring McTominay on to shore things up?
Look, he can do that, but if you've got Amrabat on the bench, he's somebody who's not likely to get forward so much. I mean, I was just about to ask you there, but can you read the bench out? Have you read it out yet, the bench?
I've read it out, but I can get it back.
Do it again, please, love. I must have been asleep when you read that bit.
I can get it back. I can get it back. It is here. So the bench is Binday, Evans, Lindelof, Ahmad, Amrabat, Eriksson, Forson, McTominay and Anthony.
Yeah, definitely McTominay if we need a goal, and possibly Amrabat if we're trying to shore things up.
He's been a fan of bringing on another centre-back, hasn't he, recently?
He's been doing that quite often, and sometimes replacing a centre-back, which I don't quite get, because you're not bringing on an extra centre-back, you're just replacing a centre-back, do you know what I mean? So I've seen him do that a couple of times.
You reckon it's managing minutes, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, but sometimes...
I think it's also about having players in the box who are good at offset pieces.
Yeah, different things, yeah. He's took Martinez off before he got injured. I think he came off at Wolves, didn't he? He got injured against West Ham, but when he took him off against Wolves, I think there was only... I think somebody might be able to check it and tell us in the chat, but I think there was only 5, 6, 7 minutes left. So 5, 6, 7 minutes, that to me means, we need a stronger player in the air, or whatever it might be. I think in this instance, it's a stronger player in the air. They might start throwing high balls into the box. For me, if you're managing somebody's minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes, that's irrelevant. If you're managing somebody's minutes, you're taking them off with 25 minutes to go or 30 minutes to go. It's no good taking them off with 6 or 7 minutes. If you can't carry on for 6 or 7 minutes, you know what I mean? So I would have thought that's purely tactical.
A lot of people are asking Faz if Ahmad will get any minutes today. Also, a lot of people are asking if the lineups can be on the screen on the graphics producer. Not sure if we usually do that. I don't know if it's something that we've just not got doing today. But do you reckon Ahmad will get any minutes?
I'm sorry, I get this question a lot. I get it on Twitter. I get it on Instagram. my question's the same as yours. The thing is, he's just not going to get any minutes. It's just not happening. If you even look at the subs that, look, you have to think of it whether, oh, is he going to play today? No, I look at it like, will he have the opportunity to come and make an impact? You look at the subs that Erik ten Hag has got available. We've just spoke about centre-back. So that's possibly a sub that you might see him make. Scott McTominay, that's possibly a sub you might see him make. Anthony's another one, obviously, that he's trying to get in some sort of form. He's a sub he's probably going to try and make. Then probably you look at maybe someone like the likes of Ahmad. You've even seen him bring on Forsen, haven't you? Which makes you think, well, is Ahmad even going to play any minute this season at all? And the unfortunate thing is, by the looks of things, maybe not. But he's very unpredictable as well. You might end up seeing him, but a game like today, I would love to see Ahmad come on. But I don't know what it is. Maybe he just doesn't have that much faith in Amad Diallo. I really don't know.
I think him.
It's the same thing with Pellistri. He had this.
Exactly.
But it's weird though, because apparently Romano did put out that Erik ten Hag and Ahmad had a conversation, and Ten Hag sees him as an important player and he wants to work with him, but he's had no time really. But he got a time a couple of weeks ago and he did quite well, and he's just not seen him since. A lot of people talking about maybe Forsen's getting his minutes because they want him to sign a contract. It's interesting. It's interesting. But we've got a super chat in here, Ricky, from the HPN saying, as a Villa supporter, I'm fully expecting United to crush us. Longley, Diego Carlos and Matty Cash are all horrific. Your forwards will have joy.
Wow, that's interesting.
Maybe he's going in with your mindset of
they are missing an important player.
Little hope and hoping, and then you'd be surprised if something.
Yeah, but he's also pointing out 3 of the defenders are not so clever, and he's making, like a little bit like you're saying, he's getting his excuses in before the game starts. They have got 3 of the best 4 defenders missing. They have, but
they've got other good players on the pitch. But interesting stuff from an actual Aston Villa supporter there. Levi Pelga says, we used to get, is Garnacho going to play today? No, he keeps playing Rashford and Anthony. Now the same complaints to get Ahmad. Let him do the youth how he has been doing it. Levi, interesting stuff from you.
I think that's a very fair comment, because he's done really well. And one thing that he has done that you can't really criticise is the academy players that he has brought on. They've done really well, or they've now gone on, moved on. Even though we may disagree with some of the players being moved on, the one thing we can agree on is at least it creates space for the next generation to come on. It's like a conveyor belt. You have to let players go either way. So look, he's done fantastic with Kobe. He's done fantastic with Garnacho. Hannibal's moved on as well. So Pellestri's gone on to get minutes. So it's okay. I think it's great.
Another great goal for Elanga yesterday, by the way.
Oh, fantastic.
I know I've said it loads of times. There'll be some people watching who haven't seen it before. I was devastated when we sold Elanga, and he's absolutely on fire now.
Do you know one of the key things, Ricky? If you don't know, one thing that he changed, I'll tell you this because I found from his trainer, one thing that he changed after he left Manchester United is his personal trainer.
Did he?
And his personal trainer, Tom, big up to Tom, Tom Joyce, he's taking him to another physical level.
Right.
Physical machine. And you can clearly see every inch, every centimetre
he
on the
looks
grass.
strong, he's rapid.
It's unreal what he's done.
There's no doubt that Elanga's mindset and his professionalism is absolutely top, but he has moved on now. We don't want to look into the past, but the one thing I would say is the way Ten Hag has handled Garnacho and Mainu has been brilliant. So I'm happy with that, and I do have to put a bit of trust in Ten Hag now. I do think Ahmad should be getting more minutes. I do think Pellistri should have got more minutes. That's still my opinion. But we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe it's a point where Ahmad has to be patient, and it might be a different outcome to what Pellistri did. But it's going to be something that we will definitely keep an eye on for sure. I just want to bring in this point quickly, Faz. Actually, I'll bring it into you, and then you can talk about what you wanted to say. And Gary Neville said that Manchester United have been so poor against the top 9 teams under Ten Hag. That's the telltale sign of a team who is not mentally strong enough, not technically and tactically good enough. They lose big games away from home. This is a big test for Man United, because that's something that is going to be questioned, mentality, and whether Ten Hag's got the right tactic and initiative to be able to get these away wins in the bag, because they're so crucial. Today's either a big step forward or you're stepping back thinking, is this ever going to come? Yeah,
I think the only thing that I can side with Erik is obviously injuries, even though I say, every team has injuries, and as a manager you make your bread and butter on days that you don't have your full starting strongest 11. today he does have a very strong starting 11. Only one of the only players that he could possibly say is Martinez. You know, he speaks about the routines from playing from the back. How much importance would that be? We'll see. But this is where it will count. I think we've said this against Wolves. We've said this numerous times this season already, that this game. But today specifically, especially because Villa are competing for top 4 as well, and you know they would want to favour themselves. And if they win this game, it's like the lead that becomes 11 points. It just becomes so hard to catch up to. So today specifically, he has to, if anyone, silence the critiques like myself or Gary or whoever that is prove a point today. But how much of an importance is or a big factor is Martinez missing? You know, if you had to put it in percentage, for example, what percentage is going to be missing from Eric's tactical book if Martinez is not there? I don't like over-reliance on a player. I've said this before, right? I know managers have favourite players or favourable players, but you still should be able to get some level of football that you need to play with your squad players. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it'll be a miss, but it shouldn't be that much because it's just simple football. Put the ball over the top, Rashford and Garnacho, pace and power, and that's what we do best, counter-attack Manchester United.
Well, I always say how I think Bruno's like one of the most important players that we have, but I think Martinez has really moved into that territory where it's really crucial to the way Ten Hag wants to play, and his whole setup he completely dictates from the back. So it's going to be a miss. It's going to be interesting to see how we go on without him after he's been so important the last 2 games for us. But Ricky, let's move on to some score predictions. I'll get these super chats in first, then we'll get them in. So Bran Muffin says, hello from Canada. I agree with Ricky on almost everything, but I don't know what he sees in McTominay. Interesting, and thank you for that, Bran Muffin. But Ricky, score predictions, please.
I will go 2-1 United.
Who's scoring?
I will go...
You got it right last time.
I will go Garnacho and Højlund.
Again?
Yeah.
2-1 United, says Ricky. Faz?
I would like to ask Ricky's, what is it, nephew, is it, or grandson?
Freddie.
Yeah, I'd like to ask him because he got it right.
Because he got it right last time he was on. Yeah.
Yeah, he got it right last time. He's our lucky charm. But it's a very, very tough one. I think Martinez is going to be a big miss. You know how important he is. He came back from injury and slotted straight back into the team, and you saw the level of energy that he brings to the team. His ball playing ability, his ability to win, intercept the ball, everything is just going to be a huge miss. And the thing is, the drop in level from Martinez to any other defender is so huge. Whether it be Evans, Lindelof, Maguire, it's just so big. I'm actually going to go for a draw. I know in the group chat I went for a Villa win. I'm not ashamed of saying it. It's just I just feel like they're going to be wanting to prove a point. They're at home. Our away record is awful. That stat from Gary Neville as well just kind of put a downer in it. But I really hope you guys are right and we get a win. But I have a feeling it's going to be a draw.
What draw?
I think it's going to be 1-1.
Scorers?
I think Rasmus Højlund. You know, I hope he can get a brace or even a hat trick. I hope he can definitely, because even if we draw and he scores, it's still some sort of positive in terms of for him, because he's gone so long without scoring and then now he's in such fiery form. If anybody needs to continue this form, it's him. And if anybody can, it's strikers. Once strikers start scoring a couple goals, they just start walking the pitch like they own the pitch, and that's what you need from Rasmus Højlund. He needs to have that big chest. You know, you see how physical he is. You see with every goal how he celebrates, how much it means to him. And I want that passion, and you know, I'm a passion merchant as well, so I want more and more of it. Keep scoring, keep being physical, keep terrorising defenders. So I really hope he gets on the score sheet.
Well, his first Premier League goal came against Aston Villa at home, Manchester United. It doesn't feel that long ago, and he's just gone on a scoring run since then. He's been doing brilliantly. It was funny actually, because I was speaking to my dad about it yesterday, and I said, "Oh, we're on a walk," and I said, "What do you reckon the score will be tomorrow?" And he went, "Oh, Villa win." And I went, "Dad, I really do think United are going to win tomorrow." And he goes, "Beth." He just starts laughing at me. And he's like, Villa at Villa Park after a couple bad results. He said United will sink. I hope he's wrong. But we have sunk a few more than a few times before. I just want the team to come out and fight. Like Ten Hag says it's a cup final, it absolutely is. We're capable of beating Villa today. It's whether we've got it up here as well, which is going to be really important. If we go a goal behind, it's going to be really tough, especially in the first half. But we're still capable. We've just not got to do what we've done in the past. It's where as soon as one goal goes in, the heads start to drop, and next thing you know, it's 3. And it's like, we just need to stay composed, keep our heads in the game. Leadership needs to be right on the pitch and play our football. And I think it's the best lineup we have. And I think United are going to win. I've gone with a 3-2 actually today. Same result as it was at Old Trafford. I think Villa will score, but I think United can outscore them. I just hope that they continue to play that high line, and I think our wingers will get joy down the sides. I really do.
It would be surprising. I think Unai Emery is clearly aware of that. He's clearly aware of that, and he's bit him, in his backside last time. So I won't be surprised at all if he sits back a bit and maybe tries to nick a draw, because it still benefits him in the long run getting a draw against Manchester United, considering their last performance as well, them losing to Newcastle as well. So I won't be surprised at all. But I wanted to ask a question to everyone, if I may. Second half of the season is well underway, right? As they say, business end of the season, and not many games left. How many games is left to play overall?
We've played 23, haven't we now? We played 23, so 15 left. 15
games, yeah.
Played 23.
It's around that figure.
If I had to ask you, so far this season, who looks like is going to be our player of the season? Who would you say? And I don't want you to think...
15 games left.
I don't want you to think, because you watch Man United games, right, week in, week out, who has been our player of the season so far with 15 games left? Beth?
It's tough.
Come on.
It's probably between...
No, one name.
And I'm going to say who's between. It's probably between Garnacho and Dalot for me.
Ooh, okay.
But...
player of the season?
I think Garnacho. But Dalot's right up there.
Player of the season. Come on, Ted. You have to really...
Well, you're predicting what's going to happen as well, aren't you, for the last 15 games? And I'm going to fancy our centre forward to get another 10 goals. I'm going to go Højlund.
Go on, Ricky.
Oh, okay.
He's got potential to be. But it's like Maine, who's only just come in, who's doing brilliantly. But obviously, he was injured, wasn't he, for the first half of the season?
Yeah.
What would you say, Faz?
You know what the answer is for me.
Dalot.
Yeah, it's obviously Diogo. Week in, week out, left side, right side, every side.
Can't argue with that.
Every week he's been there. I won't be, it must be something in the Portuguese diet, because both Portuguese, they just don't get injured.
Yeah.
Don't say that
Yeah,
now.
touch wood. It's amazing, and it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see. So Dalot for me, without shadow of a doubt.
Interesting stuff. A lot of people in the chat, I think a lot of people saying Dalot, a lot of people saying Garnacho, quite a few people saying Mainu, just kind of come through. So people saying Højlund as well. So I think it'll be between them sort of players, and it'll be interesting to see who it'll be come end of the season. I hope it is a competition and we're fighting between a few players, and we go on a good run now and hopefully end up with Champions League football. But I still don't think we'll get it, but we'll see. Let's end the stream. Well, we're not going to end the stream yet. We're going to wait for Mark to go live. But Faz, I'm going to come to you. What's your speech? What's your speech now if you're Ten Hag going into the game?
Look, however this season has gone, what's happened has happened. We look forward to this game like it's a cup final. We look forward to every game like it's a cup final. Last time when we defeated Aston Villa, Unai Emery went in the press conference and started having a smirk and saying the points he's got and the position he's in. But today we're away from home, and really let's get behind each other, and just think of the time when the away fans had the banner up saying "Play like you mean it," and that should be our motto. That should be in our minds every game now. Play like you mean it, because we, all of you want to play Champions League football. This club deserves Champions League football. The fans deserve it. And with this game, winning this game could be a real turning point. So don't just fight for the fans, fight for yourselves as well, and go on and smash these lot.
Now I'm asleep. I'm joking. I'm joking. That is the right message. Usually you have a bit more oomph though with it, Faz.
I'm sorry.
Are you not feeling hopeful?
Ollie Watkins, McGinn.
You got to believe it. If you don't believe it, the players won't believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If I'm a player, I'm not believing what you're telling me. The words were right,
but the emotion behind it, you're lacking it.
Will you believe what I told you about making sure you get your angles right when you're running back to
Guys, honestly, before we did the show, Ricky did like this 15-minute breakdown analysis on an instance that happened in the West Ham game. And I said to him, I don't agree with you. And he was like, well, you're basically calling me an old fart. And I went, what? I was like, no, because I don't agree with you. And he was like, well, it's not about, you're just saying that I'm wrong. And I'm like, I'm not saying, you might be right, but I don't agree with you in this instance anyway. He wouldn't let me out of it until I said I understood. So, but I did understand it.
Well, you know what? I'll give you one thing, right? If you are scared to pay the price of winning, then wait till you get the bill of regret. So go in and win today. Make sure you don't have no goddamn regrets.
That's better.
That's better, Faz. Now I'm feeling it a bit more. We've got some super chats in. Carlos Enrique. Faz's speech is not motivational enough. He's give you a little bit more. I honestly, and guys, before Mark goes live, if you could pick one player from Villa that you're really scared of, say, just one, in that 11, who would it be?
You always think of two when you say just give one. Look, the man who's likely to put the ball in the net or even be involved in a goal is Ollie Watkins. But I think overall, I think the main danger man is John McGinn. I really do.
Really?
I think he's a fantastic player.
I think John McGinn's a good player. I think he was linked to United quite a few years ago now, but I do think he's a good player. Faz, who's yours?
Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins. He's just such an overall striker. I really like him. I don't know why people don't like him as much, but he's top striker. If he played for any other big team, people would be rating him as one of the best. But yeah, he's a fantastic striker.
I think for me, I've spoke how good I think Douglas Luiz is coming from that midfield. He could be a threat. If it wasn't Luke Shaw at left back, I'd be saying Leon Bailey, but I'm confident in Luke Shaw. That might come back to bite me, but I'm confident in Luke Shaw and being able to keep him quiet. Ollie Watkins again is, like Faz, you said, is someone who he's struck gold with his partnership really with Unai Emery. Like he's just developed so much, and sometimes managers and players they just bounce off each other. And Dallo was actually speaking about this and saying that sometimes managers and players they just get each other, and he feels like him and Ten Hag have that, and the way he's developed him. And you know, a lot of people will talk about how Ten Hag's developed players, but one thing he has done, Ricky, is he's worked well with a few players. Luke Shaw was, I don't know if you've seen the clip, was speaking very highly of him yesterday, saying he's helped him a lot. I think regarding the fullbacks, he's really brought them on. Luke Shaw was already good, but especially Dallo, he's brought them on and worked them into his system well, hasn't he?
Yeah, Dalot's come on an absolute treat. I mean, I was always a fan of Dalot's, to be fair, but he is a lot. It's a lot more polished, a lot stronger. He's more composed. His crossing was always pretty good. I know, all players put some bad crosses in, but I like the way he even approaches the ball and he tries to get a bit of curl on it as he puts it into the box. He's got a bit of quality about him, but the manager's definitely brought him on in leaps and bounds. Luke Shaw, it's lovely to say managers and players have got great combinations, and it's lovely to hear players saying he's improving. And Luke Shaw might well believe it. But Luke Shaw's been fantastic since day one for me. He got a horrendous injury in his first or second season, but overall when he's been fit, he's just a fantastic footballer.
Well, that is that. We have the score predictions in. Me and Ricky are both going for a win. Faz is going for a draw. Mark is now live, so you can head over to that. We will be here with the fans forum, joined by Kev afterwards after Mark's final score. Faz, what should they infiltrate the chat with?
Well, I asked you the question, player of the season. Go and rate the chat with who you think the player of the season should be so far. And ask Mark as well who he thinks player of the season is so far. So, yeah.
So there you have it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Make sure you hit a like on the video on your way out. A really, really important game at Villa Park. I am so up for this. I'm so excited for it. Come on, United, and we will see you on the fans forum later.